Hello, welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com here on a Football Tuesday. I'm Johnny Venerable with my co-host, Brack, Damon Dog behind the mic, and we are thrilled to welcome, as we do every Tuesday during draft season, Brian Baldinger of ALLCITY's NFL podcast. Baldy, we are roughly 10 days away from the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. What's one thing since the last time we spoke that you have learned about a prospect in particular that gets you fired up?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot there. Let's see. I think we're finding out just how deep this wide receiver draft is. Like, the more you watch them and the deeper you go into it, you go Roman Wilson, Xavier Legette. You just keep going. Lad McConkey. Like, we want to talk about the top three. They're good, and we can get to the next group. But you just keep going. You keep going. Go. Oh, they can run. Oh, he knows how to get open. Oh, he's a good slot receiver. Like, you just keep seeing the depth of these receivers. And then if you sort of project a little bit about the impact that a lot of rookies receivers have made immediately, given the quarterback stability, some of the things you need in order for a receiver to flourish, you go, a whole bunch of, I think we could see easily 30 receivers drafted that could have an impact in 1 through 7 rounds.
That's a staggering number. It's a staggering number, but we've seen throughout this draft season, one of your colleagues at NFL Network, Peter Schrager, had Jalen Polk sneaking into the top 32, who's incredible as far as the passing game. He'll get dirty as far as run blocking, as will Roman Wilson. But as we do sit here 10 days out, what do we know as far as near truths about this top 5? What can we say definitively or nearly definitively about this top 5 outside of maybe Caleb Williams going number 1?
I feel like the quarterbacks are going to go off the board. I mean, I understand this is the lying season and there's smoke screens, but I just feel like all the momentum has it going literally 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row. Like, I just feel like right now we're looking at Caleb, we're looking at Jaden, we're looking at Dre, and we're looking at JJ. And maybe the Giants trade with Monti. Maybe Joe Shane picks up the phone and calls Monti. Like, I need that number 4 pick. I got to make sure I get my guy before somebody else, Minnesota or somebody else. Like, I feel like that's a sweet spot, and that's where it's going to start. It's going to start right there in the desert with Monti at number 4. And does Minnesota want to get there? Just imagine if Arizona made that trade and they got 11, 23, and 27 in this draft, and then Monti does what he did last year and says, oh, I want one of these guys. I'm going to use one of these assets and go trade back up and get myself one of these receivers and a defensive end, whatever. Like, I feel like all of that is in play right now.
How close is the gap between Baldy, Rome Odunze, and Malik Neighbors to Marvin Harrison Jr.? Because I feel like, I don't know, we've got some prospect fatigue with Marvin because he's not doing anything. He's not participating in the offseason. We've talked about that before. And there are some people who have Malik Neighbors over Marvin, maybe who have Rome over Marvin. Like, when you watch the tape and analyze these 3 receivers, who, by the way, they're all going to go top 10. Like, none of them are going to fall outside the top 10. What's your analysis of the hierarchy?
Honestly, you can easily talk yourself into any order you want on any given day. You could say, okay, Marvin stepped into Columbus as an 18-year-old freshman and just took over the Rose Bowl. And then, and that's with Garrett Wilson and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and all that. Like, he took over the game, probably the best player on the field that day. So, you can look at any particular game. You can look at the body of work of Rome Odunze this year and easily make him the number 1 receiver. You can look at his contested catch rate. You can look at his 3 drops. You can look at his punt returns. You can look at how smooth he is, how he, just how articulate he is. And look, I don't really care if the guy can give you Roman history off the top of his head and Rome probably can, but that doesn't matter. But I mean, just the football IQ and how he plays. Like, I honestly, when you ask me the question, I think we're just splitting hairs between these 3.
But then when you get to the next tier, and you mentioned like 30 guys this entire draft, which is insane and a true testament to how deep this class is. And you look at wide receiver, tackle, and those two impressive position groups. But from those top 3 guys where you've got, draft analysts saying that in any other draft, Neighbors is the number 1 wide receiver over Marv, and you're making your case for Rome, and I absolutely see that. But when you look at the next wave of guys, Brian Thomas, who else do you include in that? And I guess, how big of a difference is there? How much of a drop-off in talent is there, in your opinion?
I mean, Brian Thomas has everything it takes. He's got size. He's got elite speed. There was days when he was winning outside and Malik was winning inside, or they ran in combination. But, Mitchell from Texas is certainly in the conversation. Xavier Worthy from Texas, both those guys are certainly in the conversation. Keon Coleman has everything it takes. He just didn't run fast. But we've seen plenty of receivers, namely Puka last year, catch over 100 balls, dominate this league from week 1, and he didn't run fast. And then, you can look at Leggett at South Carolina, and you could look at Lag McConkey at Georgia, and Troy Franklin at Oregon, who's almost 6'2" and 200 pounds and runs well and was the go-to guy in Bo Nix's offense. And Roman Wilson, when JJ did get in trouble, that was his go-to guy, was to find Roman on scramble drills, the plays beyond the X's and O's. You want to, if you're looking for a guy, and, this is a scary comp, but you watch Malachi Corley play, that guy looks like Debo. His lower body, his power, his yards after catch. You watch him against Ohio State, Western Kentucky. He's got that. This thing just goes on and on and on. And Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan at Washington. Now we're down into the lower teams, and I'm still going with guys that I think can have an impact.
We got in an argument yesterday, Baldy, over production versus projection. You look at somebody like Latu from UCLA, who has the production, but has a little bit of a medical blip where he was temporarily forced to medically retire. Yes. Then you compare that to somebody like Chop Robinson, who maybe doesn't have the statistics, but 4.40 and some of the advanced metrics support him. What do you make of this pass rush class? Because I really do think it's the Cardinals' MO. Receiver in the top 10, and then have a pass rusher of sorts fall to them at 27. What's a good scenario for them to land?
Well, Latu's interesting because, Jalen Phillips, who tore his Achilles last year, but is a star in Miami, and he hasn't even reached, but he was at UCLA, and he had neck issues, much like Latu. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But he literally retired, stepped away from the game, went down to the University of Miami, had a year down there, got drafted, pretty high. I feel and I worked with Sterling Sharp, who broke his neck in a Monday Night Football game. He could have come back and played. He was cleared to play. He decided not to. And Latu didn't do that. But guys have had neck issues and have come back from it. It didn't look like it affected him at all. If you just want to say pure talent to rush a passer, Latu is clearly better than everybody in this draft. His ability to beat one-on-ones, to literally get on your edge, make life miserable on the edge, beat you in a variety of ways, give ground, take ground. He is slippery. He's a talented player. Now, you can look at Chop Robinson, you can look at Jared Verse, and you can look at all these guys out there. Dallas Turner, he's a better pass rusher than all of them. And he can rush inside, he can rush outside, he has good length. He's the best. Now, you could project Chop and you could project all the other guys because of their measurables and size. None of them had the production that Latu have had so far.
We want to really tap into your expertise, and we've talked about the tackle class before, and we look at this Arizona Cardinals offensive line, and it's got Paris Johnson Jr. He's a player under contract for the next 4+ years, and they just signed Jonah Williams, who's going to play at the tackle position, but Froholt's in a contract year. Will Hernandez is in a contract year. There's question marks at the left guard spot. Interior offensive line. You got your Duke hat on. Graham Barton is a really impressive prospect. Who do you like in that class? How do you rank him? JPJ's been fantastic. He's been on the rise all draft season.
Well, if Graham Barton wants to play guard, he's probably going to be a Pro Bowl guard. If he wants to play center, I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl center. The way that he runs is I met him last year. I know he went to Duke, but I met him at the OL Masterminds in Frisco last year. Had a nice little chat with him. He said, look out for me, Baldy. I'll be the left tackle this year. But he's played center. I think he's taken all of his visits, and he presents himself very well. He's got a big upside wherever he goes, whatever position. But I think he's going to be a center. To me, the number one guard in this draft is Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State.
Wow.
And if you looked at what the Rams did last year, they drafted Steve Avila in the second round at a TCU, and he literally played every snap at guard for the Rams. The Rams fixed their offensive line last year. It came together. Avila was a big part of it. I nicknamed him the Wad. He just wadded things up inside. The way you got to do that with guards. So Cooper Beebe, I think, moves better than what Avila did. I think they're going to play Avila at center this year. It looks like he's going to move into center. He played center at TCU too. So I think it's going to be a natural transition. But I like Cooper Beebe. I like this kid. I just got done watching this kid at UTEP. And he reminds me of like Will Hernandez from the standpoint of his strength.
Mm-hmm.
And he played at UTEP, both played at UTEP. But this is Elijah Klein is probably a day 3 player that he's played every position. He's played both tackles, played both guards. He's really tough. Top offensive line coaches in this league have signed off on him. They're like, this guy can play. Like, he just looks like a guard. But, I think you could look at Christian Haynes at UConn, and I think he has a comp to maybe Nate Davis coming out of Charlotte 4 years ago. He might not set the world on fire right away, but I think he's got power, and I think he could become a pretty good pro.
The Cardinals seem pretty well set at running back, at least this year with James Conner. And last year of his deal, they've got some supplemental depth, Michael Carter and et cetera. But, I'm always one to splurge on a running back. I like a team like the Cardinals who are run dominant. And then you're looking at maybe the end of day 2, early day 3. Like, I've seen a lot of people, Baldy, kind of bash this running back class. Are there some players that you think are future bell cow running backs, even though we don't have, the Jahmyr Gibbs of the world that are going to set the world on fire in the first round necessarily?
Yeah, well, that's okay. There's no Bijan in this draft.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, there's a lot of depth here. Gosh, you could go deep into this draft. I mean, you could look at Blake Corn. Is he going to be a second or third round pick? You could look at Jonathan Brooks is coming off his injury, but he's a 1-year player.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, I don't believe he's got 300 total touches yet, at Texas. You could look at Marshawn Lloyd at USC. He doesn't have 300 touches, but in his role at USC, and they rotated their backs there, like, he has home run hitting ability. Okay. You could go look at the kid from Louisville right now that I think has a chance, Isaac Garendo at Louisville. You watch his final game at USC, he ran a 4.33. Not that that's everything, but, he was a dominant player against USC in a bowl game this year for Louisville. Their starting running back got hurt. He filled in, like, he stepped up. I just think there's an awful lot of depth. I don't think, like, you could look at, Benson at Florida State. You could look at a lot of different guys in this draft. Amari Bailey at TCU. I could go on and on. I just think there might not be the Bijan or what Detroit did last year, but I think there's quality backs in this draft that can step in and give you 100 carries this year and present themselves really well. There's Ray Davis at Kentucky, a 1-year player. Like, you watch Ray Davis play, and you're like, watch him against Georgia and watch him make these house calls against Georgia. Like, a lot of these guys pop, and they're young and they're fresh, and, they've got contact balance. It's what you're looking for right now.
A big fan, draft favorite of our show has been Braylon Allen. I mean, he's a youngster, 20 years old, plays at a running back university in Wisconsin. Isn't he converted linebacker? At some point, they didn't have just a clear-cut running back, and he emerged. Let me get you out on this, Baldy. I was out at the facility yesterday. The team reported for its off-season strength and conditioning program. And you could tell people were excited to get back in this building and get to work under Jonathan Gannon. And, you spent a lot of time with Paris Johnson Jr. You've seen the pass rush ability from B.J. Ujulari. Very impressive rookie class. Who do you think makes the biggest jump? And it's not just second-year guys in year 1 to year 2 under Gannon and crew.
Well, I mean, look, if you just take a look at B.J., like, he played in every game last year, stayed healthy, played 17 games. I think he had 4 sacks. Okay, but typically pass rushers, whether an outside linebacker, defensive end, you're getting up to quarterbacks. The biggest jump that a defensive lineman make is going to be between the first and second year. Very few, including Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack, very few make a big impact their first year. But I feel like BJ has what it takes to make a jump. Like, that would be huge. If he could get, close to that double-digit sack rate, become his full-time starter. We got to figure out, just what that rotation might look like, how Jonathan's going to play his defense this year. Paris played every snap last year.
Yeah.
Played every snap. And I talked to guys, Will Anderson worked with him. He worked with a lot of people. I think he changed his set about halfway through the season last year. And I think he was a vertical set guy, and it just gives guys in this league a big runway to come after you. I think he went more horizontal, stepped out to his defensive end and got his hands on him quicker. I think it made a difference. I mean, I'd have to ask Paris that specifically, but I mean, those are two good picks. You're sitting here at 4-27. Give me two more good picks: defensive lineman, receiver, and just keep building this thing. And then the fact that you said it looked like there was big excitement, that's what you want. You want these guys coming back. They're there every day. I believe the offseason is unbelievably important. You build. I mean, when I played, I always loved the offseason. We played basketball. We went golfing. We went out, had drinks together. We just built a fraternity. We did everything together. My best friends were my teammates. And so that's what you want to begin to build at that facility in Arizona right now.
I'm going to put you on the spot. 10 days out from the draft. Let's say the Cardinals trade out at pick 4. Which team's coming up, presumably, for J.J. McCarthy? Baldy's breakdowns here on the clock.
I'll say the Giants come up. I know that's a rumor, and I don't know if they are or aren't. But I'll say that would be the most logical, closest team right now. You could still get the 6th pick. You could keep, all that stuff. You could still get yourself a receiver, and you could add additions to this draft, depending what you get if they go from 6 to 4. There you are picking at 6. You're still getting a receiver, a good receiver at 6. So it might be a Malik. It might be Rome. Who knows? It might be Marvin.
Right.
But you still get a receiver that you covet and you need, because I think you're going to draft 2 of them. But do you add a little bit of addition to this particular draft? It would make a lot of sense to take that phone call.
If you're wondering a little bit about prospect Baldy dropped on you, Elijah Klein, it's on his Twitter account right now doing his Baldy breakdowns like he does so well. Also, you can find a picture of Baldy with the greatest offensive catcher of all time, Mike Piazza. That's a great beat pick you dropped on us this week.
Yeah, that was somebody threw that back in the day. Me and Piazza were training in Hermosa Beach, California. He had a broken thumb, and I had whatever injury I had at that time. But we were trying to do whatever we could do at that time.
Well, it's a must follow for any sports fan out there, even if it's this Klein kid beating up on U of A in his footage. Damon, don't watch it, but it's fantastic. As always, Brian Baldinger, our All-City NFL analyst, NFL Network. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, maybe we know a little bit more next week than we do right now, but it's heating up fast, and the rumor's going to keep flying, so we'll address all of it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Baldy.
See you, Johnny. Take care, guys.
That's
my segment of the week right there.
That's unreal.
10 days out is Baldy speaking our language as it relates to the New York Giants. And again, a lot of emotion with Cardinal fans on Twitter. Peter Schrager dropped his infamous mock draft 1.0. We're going to get to that. We're going to break it all down. But first, we're going to tell you guys about our friends at BetMGM. They're breaking down draft props you can have access to right now. Yeah, yesterday, not tomorrow, right now. Go check out the robust amount of draft props, including who's going to be the 4th pick, who's got the best odds. And speaking of odds, you can be the Grand Slam jackpot winner on the promotion every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday throughout Major League Baseball season. Introducing the MLB Grand Slam jackpot, a weekly bet and promotion. Place a mere $10 or any wager on any player to hit a home run every weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If that player hits a grand slam on that day, you're going to win up to $50K in daily prizes, or share the bet with the other winners on that day. Super easy to get started. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on your iOS or Android device, or check them out, BetMGM.com. Love the desktop view. Sign up and deposit at least 10 bones into your BetMGM Sportsbook account. How about this? Place your first wager. You're going to receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets. If it loses, you want to sprinkle a little action on the Suns money line. I am in the opening round of the postseason this Saturday. Again, if your bet loses, don't worry. Your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager has settled. Again, bet 10, get up to $1,500 back with BetMGM, only using bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY, 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
More fun ways to win money. It's with Arizona Lottery. Check out the AZ Adventure, the Arizona Adventure. You can win up to $1 million cash in travel prizes. You're on your way to earning entries. Choose 2 paths below to get started. You can check out, you can win an Arizona staycation prize, or you can win a $500,000 grand prize. Enter the Arizona Adventure Scratchers. Others eligible tickets to earn entries into drawings. It just goes to azadventure.com. You can get those scratch offs at your local Circle K or wherever you buy AZ lottery tickets, where you feel the most comfortable. But you can also check in azadventure.com for more ways to win. And, you know, it's not just about winning prizes. It's about giving back to the state and its communities. And that's what Arizona Lottery is doing with this new promotion. Learn more about it. Win some money. Win travel prizes. azadventure.com from the Arizona Lottery.
Are the Cardinals a big winner in Peter Schrager's mock draft 1.0? And we'll preface this by saying Peter Schrager has been grossly accurate with the Arizona Cardinals. Even though last year he had them picking the wrong player, he did have them trading down to the exact pick. So he trotted out his mock draft 1.0. And I think, again, I'll speak just of my own, opinion. I think this is a better deal than what you have proposed with the Minnesota Vikings. He has the Arizona Cardinals trading down, Brack, from 4 to 6, as Brian Baldinger alluded to. And, of course, the Chargers get MHJ. The Arizona Cardinals select Rome Odunze. Let's see the Arizona Cardinals 2 picks in Peter Schrager's mock draft. Again, they're going from 4 to 6. The New York Giants, who we have teased on this show, when everybody bailed, when everybody said they're not packaging picks, well, there's some momentum there 10 days away. The Giants come up. They swap 4 and 6. They give up a future second and this year's third, which is pick 70. It's a high third. The Arizona Cardinals select Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze, whom they were smitten on, according to Tony Pauline, during their top 30 visit, followed by Darius Robinson. He actually plays defensive tackle out of Missouri, a darling of this podcast, has been on this podcast before during the Super Bowl week. Again, Odunze, Robinson, and then you get a couple day 2 picks, and you're not trading down to 11 and have to make, chicken salad out of chicken shit, for lack of a better term. Peter Schrager's mock draft 1.0. What do you think, Brack?
I mean, look at this picture of Demarius Robinson.
I love it.
I mean, that's just striking fear in offensive blockers' hearts right there. Just big old number 6. Rome Odunze at 6 overall, and trade down for a pair of day 2 picks. 1 this year, which would be your 4th third, which is just that's ammo to get up a draft board, any draft board. And then you got a 2025 second. So you've got, an early day 2 pick going into next year's draft, and you slide down 2 places, and you get a guy that's firmly in the conversation with the premier playmakers in this draft. I mean, he's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but as far as the Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes goes, it's a pretty rock solid consolation prize. But here's the problem with it, with a lot of people. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr. And it's although it's different, it's the same for the line crew out there, where it's give me Marvin Harrison Jr. or give me death. The great Patrick Henry said one time, and it was, and people are dug in, and they'll continue to believe that. But I tend to agree with you, Johnny. Like the fall down to 11 it's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. Like you have to reset, what is acceptable for getting that from a non-top 10 pick to inside the top 5. You got to reset that. And especially when you look at the 4th quarterback potentially taken in this draft, That's a steep asking price, even though that's the price. And I don't think Monty will budge from it. But when you're looking just 2 picks away and you can accumulate more draft capital, which this organization wants to do and will always be open to do, and then also get a big-time playmaker like Rome Odunze out of Washington, I think that they would absolutely ponder it, if not lean towards taking that pick. And I think Schrager, if he's not dialed in with the Cardinals, I think that he is absolutely dialed in with the New York Giants.
The New York Giants, yeah, they've entered the chat. Do we agree with that? Everything, like between Schrager was on Rich Eisen today saying they've done a ton of homework. Schefter was on ESPN saying they're laying in the weeds. I mean, I think we can buy
their actions they say we're not interested. We've got other positions to address, but their actions tell you very different, because as Schefter outlined, they've had JJ McCarthy in for a private workout. They talked to JJ McCarthy in a top 30 visit. They did their work on him at the combine. They have done a full, deeply extensive search into JJ McCarthy and a lot of the quarterbacks in this class.
I also think the Arizona Cardinals, well, we know this, Marvin's their number 1 player on their board. They want one of these 3 receivers. It's clear. And I commend Ossenfort. And before everybody gets their pitchforks out, 11 is too far to fall down. I'm sorry. And we're going to look at the rest of Schrager's top 10 mock and what a gauntlet it is. You cannot assure yourself, Bo, of a potential trade up with Tennessee or Atlanta and feel good about that. Even Chicago, they're trading out in this mock. We're going to get to it a little bit here. The Arizona Cardinals, according to Brian Balding, or with a lot of people, you're splitting hairs with these top 3 receiver prospects. If you can take advantage, and by the way, I know he said a third and a second. Let's not put it past Monti Ossenfort to get 2 2s from the Giants. I think you would get the Giants 2 this year, which is a top, 45 pick? I mean, the Cardinals would then have 4 3s if they did this deal. I think they want their Giants 2nd this year, and I think they could get it. And again, next year's 2nd, I love that, because guess what? Giants aren't very good. Their team's not very good. Whereas, if you look at the Minnesota Vikings, I think a lot of us could see the Minnesota Vikings contending for a wild card spot next year. So even if you're selling me a 2025 first rounder from Minnesota, shit, man, that could be 10 picks away from the Giants' 2nd rounder. And we're sitting here talking, oh, look at all these first round picks. The Minnesota Vikings are dead to me. I am overdoing mock trades with the Minnesota Vikings because it's never going to be better than 11 and 23. Whereas I can sit at pick 6 and know, okay, if you can't get Marvin Harrison Jr., so be it. Although I don't think it's dead by any means. If the trade happened tomorrow, it's not dead. Because who's to say you couldn't flip the Chargers a pick just to switch spots and still come out ahead? I don't know if the Cardinals would do that. You the New York Giants, and look what's happening with the Minnesota Vikings publicly now. I think the Cardinals have made it known they undressed the Vikings privately with a trade down scenario that the Vikings are just not comfortable doing. In Schrager's mock, they had them taking Bo Nix at 23, which is a gross overdraft. Why are they doing that? Because they know they have no choice. And you've got Schrager in this very mock saying that the Minnesota Vikings love Bo Nix and they love the fact that he's a Kyle Shanahan guy and it's the kind of player they could build around. And I don't doubt that he fits a mold, but he doesn't have the upside of JJ McCarthy. But guess what? I think the Minnesota Vikings have been priced out. I think it's over. I think the New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals are going to do this deal at some point. And I think it's probably going to be on the clock. And it's going to be some semblance of maybe a future 1. Maybe you can get the Giants future 1 or a couple day 2 picks. And the Cardinals are just going to sit back like this and say, okay, Chargers, do what you want to do. We're going to go BPA receiver at pick 6. And I know that's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but guys, the alternative is pick 11 and you're in the slums. You're getting scraps, respectfully, compared to the last thing I wanted this franchise to do is to pass on the blue chip prospects that are available this year. Rome, Malik are wide receiver 1s any other year. Joe Alt's a generational tackle. Do not water that down.
Yeah, and I'm surprised to see the reaction from a lot of the chat. I understand, the whole DeLine crew and Marvin Harrison Jr. and Marv are nothing. But this is different than the Vikings deal, to where it put you get assets. And I don't know why we don't like 2nd and 3rd round picks. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals were able to find 3 starters in those 2 rounds. And you still have a guy that Daniel Jeremiah has firmly in the top 5 as far as prospects in this draft.
Yeah.
As far as Rome Odunze. So for people to turn their nose up at a big time 6'3" blazing speed playmaker, which is very similar to it's Marvin Harrison Jr. light. I mean, I don't really have the biggest issue with that.
Julio Jones once went after AJ Green in the same draft. I mean, Mike Evans once was the second receiver drafted in the top 10. Like what if Rome Odunze becomes 90% of Marv and you got 2 2s out of it? Like I think they'd be pretty comfortable with that, don't you?
Yeah, no, I think they'd be more than comfortable with it. That's the way that this. It's a decent compromise. I mean, look, I'm still with. I want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. wear a Cardinals uniform, and I know you people probably disagree with that, but it's people throwing around accusations of Steve Keim. Steve Keim never navigated a draft board like this. Steve Keim never had it with the best interest of the long-term success of his team. Steve Keim never looked at it from, I'm going to delay instant gratification from my fan base for winning and having a better shot of it because I'm going to be able to infuse this roster with more talent this draft and the next. Like, it's just, I understand, like, people are upset because they have their heart set on prospects, but that's the whole thing. That's the cautionary tale. Don't fall in love with these prospects until they're drafted by your team. Because when you got a guy who's savvy and shrewd in navigating the draft board and wants to rebuild this team as quickly as possible, but the correct way, he's not going to give up an opportunity to get more and more assets and more swings at the plate to improve his roster.
I want to address this comment here. I'm going to put it on the screen. Killer Rex, why do you guys hate Marvin so much? So I know
the same thing.
That's tongue in cheek. We appreciate it, Killer Rex. But we do have to clarify something.
Yeah.
This show, like we've said multiple times, like we would take Marvin, we wouldn't trade down. But we've also been saying since the Vikings made that trade up into the first round, and then the JJ McCarthy hype train has gotten out of control, we're very much of the mindset like there's a good chance they're going to trade this pick. And I think Schrager doubled down on that today. Daniel Jeremiah continues to double down on that. People in the know, Benjamin Albright's going to come on this show Thursday. Like we don't have a responsibility to prepare anybody for anything. We're talking in reality though. This is the reality. We can argue whether or not it's a good decision when they make it and address the package potentially and the player they select. But to sit here and be like, you guys are forcing some narrative, guys, it's just, I'm respectfully, just wake up and smell the tea leaves here. Like they want a package for JJ McCarthy. There's going to be 4 quarterbacks that go 1, 2, 3. The Chargers are going to get to pick a player, and then the Cardinals potentially pick 6 will get what's left over, or maybe they get Marvin Harrison Jr. at pick 6. So I think it's just, we just want to clarify, like nobody is forcing any narrative. This is out there. The Cardinals want to trade down for more picks, but it's all about finding the right package to be able to still get a top 3 receiver, and shit like this Giants deal would allow you to do that.
You're a bad man. Bad man. How dare you?
Just trying to be real. We're keeping it real.
If you turn on the burner and you touch the pan, it's going to be hot and you're going to burn yourself.
Yeah.
Just fair warning. I
mean, we should be talking about what's a good package for Ossenfort to go with the Giants. Like we've been talking about the Vikings package. Like a third and a second isn't going to do it for me and a lot of Cardinal fans. Like I think the asking price should be like, give your second this year and a pick next year.
What are the facts in this case? What are the facts? So what do we know about Monti Ossenfort? What did he do last draft? Traded down from 3 to 12, and then he went up the draft board to 6. And then he traded down with his first pick in the second round from 33 to 41 for extra picks. Which team is in the spot right now to get the most for their pick in this draft? Monti Ossenfort, the Arizona Cardinals. You think he's just going to change his philosophy, his draft strategy for one player? And like I can see that Rome Odunze is going to be a really good player in this league. Is he going to be
Malik Neighbors?
Is he going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., who could be the best wide receiver in this league? I don't know. I don't think that he's going to surpass Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think that he could very well put himself in the top 10 as far as wide receivers in this league. And I think the Arizona Cardinals would take that, right? Because it would be for them to be able to build the rest of this roster, this draft, and the next.
Budda Baker was a second-round pick. Darnell Dockett was a second-round pick. Like, the second round, these aren't throwaway picks. If they got 2 2s from the Giants, who have not been good, they have been the opposite of good. And the roster isn't, like, competitive. You're going to saddle J.J. McCarthy with no Saquon Barkley in the NFC East, which is a gauntlet now with the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think I like that bet, that those 2 second-rounders are going to be probably top 50 picks. This year's second-rounder would be. So I'm just assuming you could pivot off at pick 70 and get a second this year. That's enticing for Monti Ossenfort to have 2 2s this year and 3 3s, and to have pick 6 and 27. You can manipulate the board all you want, and still, because here's
the thing: Rome Odunze isn't the same caliber as Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, where is
he's not?
What are we talking about?
He's basically practice squad level.
I look at this, and I throw up a little bit in my mouth. I really
Don't be disrespectful to Darius.
No, I am going to be disrespectful to Darius. I was telling Bo earlier. I mean, the guy was a 4th-round prospect before Mobile. If that's your 1st-round draft haul, when you could have had a chance at Marv, I'm going to be so sick to my stomach.
I hope Darius, when he sees you, takes you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, he's just going to show up and he's going to put you through a table. Darius Robinson is a sweetheart. How dare you, Damon? He is the next great defensive lineman for the Cardinals, but they have to get a receiver. Like, they know they have to get a receiver, and there is a lot less leg work that needs to be done from going, 4 to 6 and 4 to 11. I was happy to see the Giants enter the chat this morning. That's what I take away from this. Whether or not the package is correct, who knows?
Rome Odunze, 6'3", 212 pounds. He had a 6.74 prospect grade according to NFL.com. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a 6.82. You've got 8.3. Rome, his production score, it's 91. His athleticism score is 85. His total score is 91. Where you have Marvin Harrison Jr., 94 production score, 73 athleticism score that he didn't work out at the combine like Rome did, and he has a total score of 88. I mean, when you look at Rome and where he stacks up as far as the wide receivers at the combine, he was second at the combine as far as those.
And he competed at the combine. The Cardinals love that. I mean, he had, and we trust Tony Pauline on this show. I mean, he blew the Cardinals away. And he had the last wide receiver visit of note of the big 3. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a topic of conversation. Let's get to the rest of Peter Schrager's top 10 mock draft today. Again, the Arizona Cardinals going from 4 to 6, Damon Dog. The rest of the top 10 looks like this. I think we can pencil it in or put it in pen or ink or whatever. Caleb, Jaden, Drake May, I believe are going to go 1, 2, 3. Like, there is significant momentum. You've got people, radio hosts in Minnesota, saying it would cost 4 first-rounders for the Minnesota Vikings to even have a chance at Drake May at pick 3. And maybe that was their guy all along, but that's out of the realm of possibility now. And then again, like, look at where these players are going. The Cardinals love Joe Alt. They love Dallas Turner, who's in the building today. They love the 3 wide receivers. They're gone. These teams are taking them or they're trading them to other teams to come up. Cardinals don't want to succumb to that. You've got MHJ going 5. Of course, Rome going 6. Joe Alt 7. Dallas Turner 8. Malik Neighbors in a trade up. The Chicago Bears passing because they have no picks. And this is something that I would assume Schrager would know. Bears go down. The Colts come up to get a big-time receiver for Anthony Richardson and Neighbors. And then Brock Bowers, the Brock Bowers hype train, stops and ends with the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Bo, when you look at this top 10, what stands out to me?
I mean, you've got some movers and shakers beyond, outside of the Giants, as far as this top 10 goes. I mean, the Giants want to get up the draft board, where I think from the Cardinals down to the Jets and the top 10 teams that would be willing to trade out because of the talent in this draft and not necessarily being set on. I mean, Tennessee getting Alt probably makes too much sense, but I mean, what Baldy said, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it really just is the Cardinals are the linchpin to the rest of the draft in which direction it's going to go.
Yeah, these receivers are too good. Alt, Dallas Turner. I think this is going to be like 2021, where the first like 10 to 12 picks are very like chalk. Like the prospects we think are going high are going to go high in a very specific order. We're going to get to your super chats. Actually, right now, our guy Charlie Sinclair kicking it off here. Back-to-back super chats. $1.99. Schrags, baby. MHJ to the Los Angeles Chargers, followed by $4.99. Schrag says, no way Jim Harbaugh passes on MHJ. His master plan propping up JJ is going to pay off with an Ohio State player. Football gods are a funny bunch. I do think Marvin's not head and shoulders above Joe Alby. He's a better prospect. And I think the folks in LA will talk Jim Harbaugh into that if they have to. And again, like I think the Chargers are there. If the Cardinals don't want to trade down, I think the Cardinals do. And yeah, I would believe at this point, even though Adam Schefter is saying, Jim really wants an offensive lineman, he can get one later. I think the Chargers get Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's available at pick 5.
Thank you, Charlie, for those back-to-back super chats. How about Austin M, $1.99 super chat? If we trade down Bowers at 11, Hall of Fame tight end room, that might be the toughest of all realities for Arizona Cardinals fans. I know you get a playmaker in Bowers. He was elite at the collegiate level, and I think he's a top 10 prospect in this draft. But I'd rather see them really just feed Trey McBride next season as tight end 1 and not have any competition. How about Patrick, Johnny? $2.
Yeah, appreciate it. Is MHJ worth a 3rd rounder and a 2025 second? Well, I'm somebody who
Absolutely not.
I would have traded up for Marvin. I've said that since the beginning. I would have traded picks to come up from 4 to 3 if the Patriots were so inclined. The Cardinals don't see it that way. As of right now, based on what you want to believe, the Cardinals look at their roster and say, we need more picks. We need to flesh it out with more talent. We can hit on a 2nd rounder for a bad Giants team. And I think it speaks to like the more they vetted the big 3 at receiver, the more they feel like that group is interchangeable. Odunze and Neighbors are right there with Marvin, according to the Cardinals and people we talk to. So why not just say, you know what? We're going to add as many picks as we can and assure ourselves of getting one of them, and we will be content. That's how they think. Whether that's right or wrong, only time will tell, Bo.
Yeah. How about this big generous super chat from Corey_Cards?
Hey, thank you, Corey.
1999. Unbelievable. What's up, fellas? Excited for the draft party coming over from Baltimore.
Hell yeah.
Quick question. If we take Minnesota deal, what's the compensation look like to get back to 5? Daniel Jeremiah adamant Chargers want to trade down. Corey Cards, that's unbelievable. You're making the flight all the way from Baltimore. Going from your birds there to the birds here. And we checked out our draft space today.
You did.
It looks elite. We're going to have an incredible setup. Heard some of the great stuff that people who have tickets are going to get access to. As far as getting back up from 11 to 5, I don't think it's an easier route just because, the quarterbacks are off the board. You still have who's being, you've got the best prospect in the draft, then back on, the rights to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think Jim Harbaugh or the new GM there are in the business of giving discounts. I think it's going to be expensive.
They want the package the Cardinals are getting from other teams. And if they don't get that package, they're probably going to just stick and pick a blue chip player. They're going to say, you know what, we're good. We actually need really talented players. We've got a young quarterback we're trying to support. Let's get him a tackle. Let's get him a receiver. I don't think the Chargers are going to be taken advantage of in the sense that like, oh yeah, we'll just take anything. And it's like the Chargers want the 3 ones from many. The Chargers want multiple picks from another team. Like if you don't take Marvin and you go down to 11, it's going to be very difficult to come back up. And I think the Cardinals know that, and they might be pivoting as a result here.
Yeah. And I mean, Monti Ossenfort didn't take a discount last year when you had Houston coming up and really negotiating against themselves to get Will Anderson Jr., who was a pass rusher. Didi, $1.99 super chat. Vikings 11th is horseshit.
Well, yeah, that alone, Didi, but pick 23, a first rounder next year. I would say that Vikings trade package, not on life support, but it feels like it's lost some momentum. or maybe we're in a little bit of a holding pattern. But it's great to see the Giants enter the chat. Topic 64, friend of the program, $1.99. What happened to 3-1s to give up for pick number 4? You're just talking about it. Again, like the Giants aren't going to have that same price tag, topic 64. Now, I think Schrager's Bo is a little light on his, compensation for the Cardinals. I'm guessing he was just kind of going by the trade chart. Ossenfort's going to get a second rounder this year. The first pick of the trade is not going to be till 70. I think that'd be tough for him to stomach. I would rather do a second this year and then like a fourth next year instead of a 3 and a 2. I would feel good about getting a second this year. 5 picks on day 2. Can you imagine 2 2s and 3 3s? That's 5 starters for this team.
Yeah. Don't people don't want to hear that though. They just don't.
5 starters plus Neighbors or Odunze. That's pretty good.
You disgust me. Our guy Charlie Sinclair making it rain with 199 super chats. Thank you, Charlie. New York Giants want to keep their 2 draft wide receiver for JJ. Well, you can't have your franchise quarterback and then also legitimately team build or think about, hey, I'm going to keep some extra left over for the team building aspect because it's that competitive of a market. And I think if it comes down to it and they're pressed, and you heard Baldy talk about this wide receiver class. I mean, up to 30 guys drafted. If they don't get somebody in the second, they can certainly get somebody in the third. It's not scraps relative to other drafts. Like he talked about Malachi from Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
It'd be a nice little piece for a rookie quarterback.
Here are the Giants picks, by the way. And I don't care what the Giants think. If they wine and dine JJ McCarthy and he's their guy, they will give up pick 47. That's the second rounder they got from Seattle. And then to your point, boy, they've got 70 and 107. Go make some moves. Get a receiver there. Get a playmaker or running back there. But you would need to package 6 and 47 and a future pick to Ossenfort. Like, there's not that big of a difference for that. Like, they're going to give up pick 47 if they come up. Ossenfort's not taking your scraps in the third round.
There's over 500 people in this chat right now. We'll drop a like. Lights are light. Let's get them up right now for PHNX cards and for Tyler. How about Tyler? $4.99 super chat. I don't like this one bit. Bo should shave his head like Monty if they draft MHJ.
We have bald caps that we wear, Tyler.
Why do I have to shave my head?
It's because they probably think Johnny's hair is all he has.
Because both of you guys hate Marvin. I think both of you actually have to shave your head if it's Marvin.
Unbelievable.
Damon is just asking for it, man. I can't believe how disrespectful Damon Dog has been lately.
Should we talk about what you guys did earlier today?
No.
What did we do?
That's off the record.
Do we get into that?
What kind of integrity do you have if you want to share off the record moments?
I don't even know what he's talking about.
To be honest with you, nothing's off the record when it comes to my hold the line family. I mean, we bleed for each other, we die for each other. So why would we keep secrets from one another? But I'll tell you what, guys, we were at Gila River Resorts and Casinos testing for our draft party. And these 2 guys, I mean, you've never seen 2 people root for a trade down more.
Oh, come on. That's not what happened at all.
The NFL draft.
Objection.
We're doing a mock
objection,
setup, and they can't even when we're playing pretend, they can't even be like, hey, we selected Marvin.
No, we're not going to sit there and pretend there's an Easter bunny in front of our co-workers who are adults, and they're asking us what's going on, and some nice people at Gila River want our take on it, and we're not sitting there with our pom-poms. We're keeping it real.
They're literally
people come to this podcast for insight.
Down. It's sad.
Okay. This is a sad day, Damon Dog. Bringing our dirty laundry onto this podcast. Libertarian Sasquatch, $1.99. How about this? Looks like it's turn 1 person. I'm old, the effing line, but I'd be totally fine with 6, to be honest. 6 is way easier to swallow than 11. I saw some Cardinal Twitter accounts post some polls. First of all, when the polls were with Minnesota Vikings, it was universally hated, like 95%.
Yeah.
Don't do that deal, even with 3 1s. I would say it's closer to 75-25 with pick 6, people disliking it, but it's a better ratio.
Here's the thing about the hold the line crew is they have zero sense of humor about trading the pick.
They don't.
Here we are. We've got our headsets on. We're doing a mock kind of open to the show. And we're just a couple fellas joshing around saying, oh, and the Cardinals have traded the pick. And old Damon Dog can't take a joke and he wants to share it trying to expose us for something we're not. We're not Marvin haters.
It's all these guys do. Trade down, trade down, trade down. There's never any talk about Marvin. It's sad at this point. It's just
we talked about him all year, and then we talked about him after the combine.
9 to 10 years as an Arizona Cardinal.
Try 20, Bo. And when
Larry Fitzgerald played 17 years.
Exactly. And when we're playing
modern medicine,
when we're playing pretend, Bo, you can't even pretend that Marvin Harrison Jr.
Let me just hold your hand, Damon. Charlie Sinclair, $1.99. Don't tell Damon Rome is better contested cash. Also, don't tell Damon Daniel Jeremiah's favorite player in this draft is not MHJ. It's Rome Odunze. But Cardinals basically love him as well. But yeah, he's undraftable. Can't take him. Don't take Rome Odunze. He's not worth drafting.
How about our guy? Oh, for sure, jumping in with $19.99 super chat. Very generous, unbelievable. MHJ will be there for which we have. Trade the pick, and I hope we get in what we're looking for. You guys are talking like we have to trade HODL for Sweet Baby Marv.
Thank you for that super chat.
Yeah, great. No, we're not talking like they have to trade. It's just it's competition to trade up the draft board. And the Cardinals are sitting in the catbird seat where they have the opportunity to stick and pick great player Marvin Harrison Jr., or they have the opportunity to get an unprecedented amount of picks for the 4th overall selection. It's never been this valuable. And coming from the standpoint of how Monti Ossenfort how he wants to build his team and how he wants to set himself up with draft assets as a draft and develop team, we're just, from an educated guess standpoint, believe that 3 first-round picks is too rich for him to pass up. Sorry.
Also, like, what kind of podcast would we be if we just came on this show every day and said they're going to take Marv, it's a done deal, and then they didn't take Marv? Yeah. And we didn't assess the opportunities elsewhere that this team had. Like, that would be woefully ignorant and irresponsible of Bo and I. But Damon Dog, who has no real responsibilities behind the mic, is just absolutely going rogue like a kid in a candy store with his Skittles and Diet Pepsi for dinner.
People just want to hear a podcast dream a little bit.
Oh man, know? I love having Hershey bars for breakfast with Damon.
I'm just, hey, you guys want to fence sit? Go ahead and fence sit.
We're not fencing anything.
We want Marv, but we're going to talk about trade down for the entire show so that we're never wrong.
Damon's going to...
It's a win-win scenario, but guess what? I made it a lose-lose for you guys. So
we're losing right now during this
for breakfast. Damon had to leave work because he had a tummy ache because he had to fleet his responsibilities while we're sitting here and we're trying to keep the people informed. Bracing for impact. Let's not discount the impact that this is going to make. The move that Monti Ossenfort could potentially make would put him just on an unbelievably hot seat to be successful in this draft, this very draft, not next draft where he potentially could have an extra first or an extra second. This draft, he's got to have an immediate return on investment.
Peter Schrager puts the mocks out to try to be accurate and predict what's going to happen based on the tea leaves that's being said around the NFL. He posted that mock this morning with Cardinal fans. You would have thought like Peter Schrager isn't credentialed to do anything, like works in like furniture, like is not an NFL insider. People are like, you don't know anything. Cardinals have already decided they're taking Marv. What? Come on, guys and gals. Let's be respectful here. Schrager is putting that out there because he's hearing, as is Adam fucking Schefter, that the New York Giants want to trade up for JJ McCarthy. Who are they going to trade up with? I don't know. The Arizona Cardinals, who pick 4, who have access to JJ McCarthy. The Giants aren't trading with the Chargers. They're coming up. They're jumping the Chargers, who could trade with the Vikings. Like, I want to live in reality, not this delusional fantasy land that the Cardinals have put their pick in 10 days before the draft. That hasn't happened yet. Come on.
Ben, the Cardinals fan, $5. Man, this is getting tough. Not because of the super chat, but man, there's a lot of back and forth going on. Here's the draft prospect that will rock Johnny's world. Leandre Andreas, offensive lineman from Mars Hill University.
That's not a real university. All right, I'm looking him up right now. Is he a draftable player?
He's not Baby Shaq from the University of British Columbia that the Cardinals private worked out the other day. The 6'8"
Here he is.
monster.
Good looking player. Leandre Andreas. I love offensive linemen. I don't know if he's a draftable player. But
where is it? Mars Bar University? What is it?
He actually goes to Take 5 University. He got his undergrad at $100,000.
Is he gonna get his master's at whatchamacallit? Marvin Harrison Jr. $4.99 super check. More picks. You mean INTs on the field? Either you take me or you take another year of randoms, except McBride dropping balls on the field.
We might have to do a show of all the hits the Cardinals have had on day 2 of the draft and why it's been an infinitely better round for them to draft than round 1. Like, I don't know, some player named Tyrann Mathieu played for LSU and went in the 3rd round. David Johnson, 3rd round. Smokey John Brown went in the 3rd round. David Johnson. I mentioned Budda Baker. Like, Cardinals, even though they struggle in the kitchen, they usually cook on day 2 of the draft. And last year they got a bunch of contributors. But yeah, let's just, if the Cardinals have deemed Neighbors and or Odunze comparable to Marv, and then they have 2 2s on the table from the Giants, let's just say no thanks to that.
Tyler Charles, $4.99. All right, both of you should shave your heads. No bald caps. Hold the F in line.
People are thinking like that should be our punishment if they take Marv. Like, you're not punishing us. We want them to take Marv. Just trying. It's like those adults that have to discipline their kids for the betterment of like the situation. Like, hey guys, we got to go to bed on time, so you're up for school early, so we can get in our routine. You can hate us. And, in the short term, it's better for you long term. You got to get your 8 hours.
At the Icon, $4.99 super chat. Yep, the media doesn't want MHJ with Kyler in Arizona. They want him with Herbert, the media darling. They want him with the social media quarterback. It makes too much sense.
Guys, we got 10 days to go. This is not media propaganda. This is people who are connected to the Cardinals saying that the Cardinals want to trade down. So we're conveying that. We're putting that out there. And people are like, this, it's like we're responsible if this happens. And now, Damon will spin it like that. Johnny and Bo drove this every day. And you know what? Somebody in the Cardinals organization saw it. And they're like, you know what? The guys that do a podcast about our team every day at 4:30, they were the sticky point.
There was a podcast that was saying they need to pass on Marv and sign Mike Evans, and we're taking the flack for talking about trade downs.
It has a profound impact.
That podcast, times are tough. Ghost of Pat Tilley, $5 super chat. When we take MHJ, JV has to eat a tomahawk steak, no ketchup. I don't eat steak with ketchup, and get 3 hours of sunlight. Hashtag Damon Dog equals the man. Hold the line. I do look pale when we do this show compared to Bo. I promise I'm not that pale in real life. Those of you at the draft,
you do have a bit of a dungeon tan going on.
Hey, come on. Because I'm always on the grind. I'm always working. I'm not looking at eclipses like the rest of you. Oh, for sure. $4.99 super chat. Monty, Lord of the Picks. You guys are great. Monty, we trust. Thank you all for sure.
Thank you.
Again, like the picks are only as good as you hit on them. I thought people were going to be fired up today. Like, they traded down, but it wasn't with the Vikings, and they're going to get a big 3 receiver. No. People are not happy, though.
They cracked their knuckles, and they went to work or on their smartphone. They said, it's Marvin Harrison Jr., or I'm done with this organization.
Somebody told me today they were going to quit being a fan if they passed on Marvin Harrison Jr. Quit being a fan of this team. Bro, I got times are tough for you. Did you ever watch this team draft of the last 10 years? You had some prime time to quit being a fan when Robert Kimdichie was taking over Chris Jones. Like, maybe give Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze a chance if they take him. This is a good tweet from, I believe it was Field Yates, Bo. I glossed over this earlier. Somebody basically pushing back on what the Giants would have to give up for the opportunity to come up to 6. And actually comes from Schrager himself. Getting a lot of this. If AZ traded with the Giants, it'd be less than with Minnesota, Denver, or Vegas. 3 firsts for a team, 11, 12, 13, sure. So again, confirming, you come up to 11, you come up from that spot. Certainly you're giving up 3 1s. A trade with the Giants means 6 overall, and Arizona would still get one of the top offensive tackles, the top defensive player, or 2 of the 3 top receivers. Again, I can tell you definitively, like they would prefer a wideout. They wouldn't take Joe Alt, I don't think, over Neighbors or Odunze. They wouldn't take Dallas Turner, who they're meeting with as we speak here in Tempe. They wouldn't take him over one of the wide receiver prospects. But again, like that's the point we've been trying to make, Bo, this entire show is like, you need those 3-1s from those teams because the drop-off is so significant.
You're right. Yeah, you're taking yourself out of striking distance of some of the top prospects in this draft. And, you know, we can talk about how impressive this draft class is, but the top tier talent, it's something that I think general managers would be weary of trading out of. But by the way, this picture, those guys they can't look dorkier. Put
that back up there,
the
David.
Giant brain trust, is that Dable and their GM?
Yeah, that's rough. That's a team that's saying, you know what, we're gonna take JJ McCarthy and we're gonna get him bludgeoned en route to a 3-14 record. That's what that looks like. No Saquon Barkley, no problem. JJ McCarthy. How's 3 wins sound in the NFC East? I don't hate it. Giants are bad like 3 out of every 4 years. And Minnesota Vikings have not had a top 10 pick in some time. So give me all the Giants picks you can. Would you rather have 2 2s or would you rather have a first from the Giants next year?
I think if you got a 2 this year, I'd probably take that over a 1 next year. Because I get to you get to see the pick in action as far as
when you know where the pick is.
Right. Exactly.
47. That's a B.J. Ojulari was like pick 45. I mean 41. So yeah, you're in the wheelhouse.
You have
right
35
there.
and you have 47. So you've got
60.
you know, you go 6, you go 27, you go 35, 47. That's
60.
And then 3/3. That's
71, 90 something, 90.
Not bad.
You like 7 picks in the top 90? Is that good?
A lot of people in the chat don't.
Come on, guys. Come on. We're just trying to just look on the other side for a second. Back to these super chats here. Merv, $5. Someone's going to throw a hissy fit about the argument y'all had earlier and tell y'all to treat people better in the debate. I don't know who we referencing. Are we not treating
last time you guys spoke to me in such a horrific manner?
Oh my God.
And everybody was so upset about it.
I'm so sorry, Damon. I'm so sorry.
Damon's
a big boy. Damon can take care of himself. And Damon has created a movement. So we're very proud of
it. Right. He'll stand proudly for it.
I'm laughing at all the people in the chat right now who are acting like I'm like just being the most serious, like this is just my life at this point. I guess so.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah, this is all he thinks about.
They think that like I'm actually mad at you guys on a daily basis because of this stuff.
We literally
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do yell a lot, but
Damon has had to watch U of A football his entire adult life. Up until this year, they have been unwatchable.
10 wins, baby.
You think Damon has not been exposed to bad football? You think Damon would not love Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze? Of course he would. Let's be real. Cardinals, by the way, working out Jordan Morgan. I'd love to see Jordan Morgan at pick 35. Chris 912, $2 super chat. I support Jobo. They're doing the right thing. Wow, thank you so much.
But we're not really doing anything. I mean, we're having multiple conversations about the draft. Can you imagine if we just came out and it was just Marvin Harrison Jr. all the time? Like if they stick and pick, or if somehow Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to him at 6. Where they do a mini trade back up. I don't know, something absurd. But they get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like this becomes, it's no longer PHNX Cardinals. It's PHNX Marvin Harrison Jr.
Of course. Bo and I are buying number 18 jerseys for our kids. I mean, it's like he's ingratiated in the community as a icon before he plays it down. Like, you don't think we want that on this show? But we're like, I got somebody texting my phone today, like, close to the situation, basically saying like, yeah, they love these 3 receivers. So if you can get picks and get one of them, like they're going to be happy with that. I've never been texted at any point like it's MHJ or nothing. I mean, if that text had come through in March, in late March and early April, we would come on the show and be like, okay, here's what we're hearing. Like the trade speculation's media driven. It's not real. Like, no, Peter Schrager puts a mock out 10 days before the draft, has the Cardinals trading down. Like, we probably should pay attention. Adam Schefter saying the Arizona Cardinals are shopping the pick. Sean Payton telling everybody at the owners' meetings, Monti Ossenfort is, the most popular guy here. When is the last time somebody in the media outside of Albert Breer on Monday came out and basically said, like, Cardinals, it's MHJ. They're at the altar. It's done. Buy the jersey. Like, it's not. And so we're trying to be responsible. And
it's not Johnny at the wedding saying, I object. He's not. He'll sit there with his box of tissues and he'll cry tears of joy for the Cardinals wedding Marvin Harrison Jr. I
want it to happen. I want the pick to be in. I don't think that's what's going to happen, though. I think they're going to trade down. I've thought that way for like a month. I haven't woke up one day and been like, you know what? They're good. I've come to grips with the fact. I think I've just accepted it. That's why it's easier for me to talk about.
Yeah. Stages of grief. Cardinals Charles 71 $2 super chat. Rome greater than neighbors. Hold the line from Rome.
Very responsible take.
He wants the Rome Empire.
I mean, I think they prefer Rome over neighbors, but like, would neighbors be a great consolation prize? Of course. Rome's getting TO comps right now. People who have no dog in the hunt have compared Rome Odunze to Terrell Owens without the off the field drama. Like, I mean, he's high character, team captain, ass kicker. Didn't he average almost like 20 yards a catch? Really nice compliment to Michael Wilson. I mean, like, there's tons
20 yards per reception, 2 first downs. Is that pretty good?
Yeah, he's the same size as Marvin. He doesn't have the cachet.
He only did for a team that played in the last game of the college football season too.
Let me pull up. We're talking tongue in cheek here.
Good.
Here's Rome Odunze's stats from this year.
Did he elevate Michael Penix Jr. to almost a first round pick?
He's got back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
I don't think that's fair. You think he elevated Penix?
He had a big part of it. Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 other receivers that are about to get drafted from that offense as well. I think
they're all the best.
They're all a factor of each other.
Yeah, but who is the clear-cut one on that team?
Before the season, I wouldn't say there was a clear cut.
But
after
who
this
emerged?
Listen to this.
We're going to take out this college football season.
Listen to this.
What we just watched.
You could have made an argument McMillan was up there before the season.
Hang on. When the chips are on the table and it's the end of the year and they got to go pound for pound and go win out to win the Pac-12, the remnants of the Pac-12, all its dust and glory. RIP. They beat USC, who is the 20th ranked team at the time. They go to USC. He has 82 yards. The next week they play Utah, who has a great defense. He torches them 111, 2 touchdowns. The next week against the 11th ranked Oregon State Beavers, 106, 2 touchdowns. Then Washington State, 120, 2 touchdowns. Then, Oregon in the Pac-12 title game, 8 catches, 102 yards. Then against number 3 Texas, 6 catches, 125 yards. Is that good? Just week after week after. And then against Michigan, he had 87 yards. Ho-hum. Against Oregon,
he hit 87 in that game. Do you remember watching that? And like Washington going against, one of the best defenses in the nation. And he just quietly made his way to 87. Just ho-hum, nearly 100 yards.
They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 10 of his 15 games, he went over 100 yards. Just doing work, clocking in, clocking out. Like there's a lot of good to like with Rome Odunze. And he torched Oregon he abused Oregon the 2 times they played. Like Oregon had an elite offense, but the difference in that game, those 2 games were Rome.
McMillan had 9 catches for 131 yards in the Pac-12 championship against Oregon.
I think they're both good. I mean, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson play on the same team.
That offense was just really good. They have 2 O-linemen. They're going to be first 2-round draft picks as well.
It's a really good team. You should probably take some players from it. Not the quarterback, though. Daniel Appel, $5 super chat. What sucks for either Neighbors or Rome is if they do this deal, they will be nitpicked to death compared to MHJ, which is unfair to them. I hope, and I'll be serious, this is not tongue-in-cheek, I hope Cardinal fans, if they take Neighbors or Rome, will embrace them, will make them feel good about it's not their fault that the Cardinals passed on Harrison Jr. You hold Ossenfort accountable and Gannon. They want to be held accountable. You don't hold if MHJ's going for 1,500 yards and Rome's going for 1,300. We get off the kid's case, man. Like, just let him grow and develop with Kyler Murray.
Chris Hart. Is Rome Odunze good? I don't know. Are Bermuda fish big?
What do you want me to say?
I mean, it's a trophy fish. I mean, I don't.
It's a trophy draft pick. You're like, no, but let me I want to pose that question to you.
Let's pose this to you.
Okay.
Wide receiver core of Rome at the X, Greg Dortch in the slot, Michael Wilson at the Z, Trey McBride as your tight end, James Conner.
And Baldy said they're going to take 2 receivers, Xavier Legette, pick 60.
Or Jalen Polk or a McMillan. I mean, it's an upgrade.
Get your pan out, Monty. Cooking it up, baby. That's what I want to see. Get one of the big 3. Like, if you are committed to trading down, if you have to take advantage of this McCarthy situation, I understand it. You want to rebuild this roster, you get Neighbors or Odunze. And we're good. We're fine. Like, it's not Marvin, but it's Marvin's 1A. I'm inclined to say if you get 2 2s from the Giants and you get one of these other wideouts, it's 1B for me. Corey the Stew, $1.99. I can make peace with 6. I get Jobo, but hold the line with Damon Dog. I appreciate that, Corey the Stew. I think a lot of Cardinal fans will come around to it. Print up the Odunze jerseys or the Neighbor jerseys. And you know what? It'll be really helpful if you got pick 47 and that pick just kicked ass first year. You got like a guard, you got a center, you got an interior. If that became the defensive tackle out of Michigan or a pass rusher, and that pick immediate returns. It wasn't BJ or Garrett Williams. You had to wait, right? We're at camp, you're at OTAs, and that player is just flying around. That will help immensely. I hope that's what happens.
That's what Monti Ossenfort's capable of doing.
Yeah.
Previous GM couldn't do that.
No.
Couldn't consistently string together, solid draft classes, good pick after good pick. Richard jumping in with good super chats on a consistent basis. How about $4.99? Or with this one, this is just like Will Anderson Jr. from last year. How many people stopped watching the Cardinals last year? It's a great point. Will Anderson Jr. was the defensive rookie of the year. You pass on an opportunity to do that. When you take into consideration the package that they got and how it set them up for success in this draft, but also they also gave them the ability to get back up the draft board and get a player at a premium position that's now under contract for the next 4 seasons at a very, team-friendly rate. That's going to protect your main asset and Kyler Murray at $230.5 million. He's going to be making about $50 million of the cap. And then you've got him who's also a bulldozer in the run game. Didn't miss a snap last year in Paris Johnson Jr. Became an immediate pillar of this organization.
I like Will Anderson Jr. I think it was a little bit of a popularity contest. People were slobbing all over the Texans, rightfully so. Stroud was fantastic. D'Amico Ryans. I think Will Anderson Jr. and Paris Johnson Jr. will have similar career trajectories for their 2 positions. I think they'll be in the same kind of class category. Will Paris ever be Trent Williams? Probably not. Will Will Anderson Jr. ever be Myles Garrett? Probably not. But I think they're in the same category of player. And I love the pick at the time. And I love Marvin more than I love Rome or Neighbors, but it's a very comparable situation. If Neighbors and Rome go over 1,000 yards this year, everybody's going to be excited.
And it's, there is a difference, even though Baldy's saying, how much he likes Brian Thomas Jr. But I mean, this top 3 group of wide receivers, it's different. It's different. And if you do put yourself in a position to, if you want to trade down, but you also stay in a spot to get one of those guys, it seems like a pretty easy dub that you can just hand to Monti Ossenfort. How about an easy one too? A 99-cent super sticker from our guy, RJ Leonard. Thank you, RJ. If you had something you want to attach to that, maybe a comment, just drop in the chat. We'll read it. Free of charge because you already dropped a 99 super.
Thank you, RJ. Another free dub that you can get right now is joining the Inner Circle by becoming an Inner Circle member with our friends at Circle K, picking up free selection on Circle K products every 6th purchase. pizza, coffee, ice cold fountain drinks, and more. It's America's thirst stop. What are you waiting for? I'm a member. Bo, Damon Dog. How about Michael Wilson? He's a member. Hell, who knows? The Cardinals' 4th pick, 6th pick, they might become a member of the Inner Circle if they know what's good for them. It's the free new membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups with our friends at Circle K. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Join the Inner Circle that I mentioned. It's free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply. Filled up today, paid a fraction of the cost at some of these other competitors. Love Circle K. There's a new one being built by my house right now. And I love the selection of their Circle K original products. Visit circlek.com/store-locator to find the Circle K nearest to you.
Yeah, don't miss out on that. I didn't want to miss out on a stand-up comedy show on Saturday. I got myself in the door to see Nate Bargatze. I was out there hanging out in the second deck with our friend Dennis Gardeck. We were watching and laughing our ass off. I don't know why he was slumming it up there with me and the rest of us up there in level 2 at the Footprint Center, but I'm sure he saved some money just like I did using the Game Time app. Game Time is going to get you last minute tickets in the door, whatever you want to see. You want to laugh, you can go watch, comedians like Bill Burr. You can go to sporting events. You get the Suns and the playoffs go down here soon. Why not get some tickets? It's at a good cost. You can go to Diamondbacks ticket right now. Last call, $4.
Wow.
I had 5 yesterday from our Game Time.
Damon went for $5, $4 today. You can get parking tickets as well. Tomorrow, maybe last time you can catch NHL hockey here in the desert. I mean, at least for time being it is. You can get in the door for tickets. You're not going to find a better deal than Game Time right now. When you sign up for your free account, you get $20 off your first purchase with the code PHNX. Use that when you sign up for an account, create it, use the code PHNX, get $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account, redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Game Time. Download it now. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Jer'zhan Johnny Newton held his pro day today after being temporarily sidelined. And originally it looked like the Cardinals were not there, but later confirmed, Bo, by our guy Jordan Shorts, who let us know Arizona Cardinals were in attendance. What are you laughing at? I can never say Jordan's last name. Jordan Schultz.
Jordan Shorts is what he said.
All right, Dick. Jordan Schultz reported the Arizona Cardinals had a presence at the first round caliber defensive tackles pro day, which I believe took place in Champaign, Illinois. Jer'zhan Johnny Newton, no team met more with him during the college football season. Did the Arizona Cardinals, asking a lot from 27 for him to fall, but I guarantee if he were to become available, he'd be the top player on their board late in the first round, Bo.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how they have the 2 top interior defensive linemen ranked. Like, are they more Byron Murphy II, or are they a Johnny Newton kind of team? But it's like Dr. Pepper and Coke, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great Shorts report right there from Jordan Schultz, our guy. Normally I let you just slide, but Jordan Shorts is all time.
He's big time now. He's on Colin Cowherd, so he probably doesn't return my DMs anymore because I butchered his name. Updated draft odds: Marvin still -175 go to the Arizona Cardinals. Go 4th overall. I'm assuming to the Cardinals. McCarthy +175 to go 4th overall. Here, how about this? This is interesting, and I would say this has something to do with what's taking place today. Rome Odunze's odds have raised from pick 6, originally +400, now +250 to go 6 overall. Neighbors +145. So again, neck and neck with wide receiver number 2 to potentially be taken. Now that could be the Giants, also could be Monti Ossenfort and our sweet baby Arizona Cardinals picking 6 overall. So something to keep in mind. Keep it locked in on some of these props. I don't think we're going to get a slam dunk outside of these top 3. But, I mean, you start getting down close to even money, which is just to pick them outright, close to +100, -100. Like, there's some momentum there. And I see J.J. McCarthy and Marvin Harrison Jr. with a 1 in front of both their odds. I would say you're coin flipping at best.
Yeah, it's tough. It's no way to really make true predictions, right? I mean, we remember that from the coaching search. You see the odds all over the place, and Cardinals were favorite for one guy, and one guy wasn't really even on the board. Where was JG in those odds at one point, and came out of nowhere? you got to beware of a lot of things. And you think about, smoke screen season and it continues. Like the hype train for Malik Neighbors that was a couple weeks ago, it feels like it's shifting momentum to Odunze. And, you've got teams like the Vikings who seem primed to come up the draft board, where today it's shifted a little bit to the Giants. So it's swaying, and, you had the Vikings give their best shot as far as, utilizing headlines and tweets and the media to kind of make their case that they don't have to give up a king's ransom to get up the draft board. And then you see it kind of shift back, and it's showing them, the Minnesota, that there are many players to get up the draft board, and it's as competitive as ever. And if you want to just sit and not aggressively get your quarterback, then you go ahead. But here's who you're going to be picking from.
Gatorade man, $1.99 super chat, asking the Cards should just ask K1 Kyler Murray what big 3 wide receiver he wants. I think he would answer Joe Alt. That's what would be his response. That's what he would say. Kyler wants offensive lineman. I think he would be thrilled with any of the big 3. Honestly.
David Broderick, Bumble F State. If Marv were to suck, Monti Ossenfort has good faith in deniability. Let's see, if he's the wide receiver we think he is, and Monti Ossenfort passes, his boys suck, he's fired. Take the sure thing. Hold the line.
I think Monty isn't worried about job security. Whether or not that's the right decision, I don't know. I think he honestly, this is what the Cardinals believe. If we can get a number 1 receiver and add extra picks, and then those picks turn into good players, and we're confident in our scouting and development process, we're going to be, they're not thinking about getting fired. They're thinking about trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, as ridiculous as that sounds to some people with this franchise, I get it. The skepticism is there. But my ask of everybody is, let's not label this franchise inept, emphasis on inept draft history on Monti Ossenfort. Let's let him carve his own path. And if he wants to come out and say Rome or Malik plus 2 2s is how he's going to cook, and he's going to turn those 2 2s into Buda Baker, esque type of prospects, then I say go do your thing, man. Like I did not like the Michael Wilson pick last year, and he was one of the best, if not the best player they drafted. So Dante Stills in the 6th round. Come on, let this guy have another draft to carry on his legacy.
I agree with Bees. Draft day chat is going to be a war zone, and we're here for it. The only place is we're going to have a spirited war zone debate on draft day. And
you're here for it. I'm going to be
everybody. I mean, Damon's going to have his face painted.
I'm going to be in the trenches.
You are. And we scoped out our draft setup today and had some, like, can I get Damon if he goes limp and faints if they pass off of Marvin Harrison Jr.? Can I get him to a safe spot where he can get the proper medical attention?
Yeah. Tracking actually, like, how to get me to, like, the doctor's office at the casino,
to the blue tent.
We'll get a hydration station outside.
We just have a blue tent like they have on NFL sidelines, and we'll get
Damon's entered the blue tent. He's making that long walk to the blue tent. RJ Leonard, $2 super chat. Will Damon Dog buy a Rome jersey when we get him at 6? Here's what Bo and I are not going to do. We are not going to sit on the show post-draft and tell Damon he's not allowed to root for Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors, because we are adults.
Big of us.
We are very nobody's more humble than Bo and I. Nobody.
You guys could, based off of how I'm treating you guys, I wouldn't be offended by that.
I've been called the most humble, actually. I don't know if you know that.
No one's ever been more humble than Bo. In all seriousness, if you've got your tickets, awesome. If you still need tickets to Gila River Resorts and Casinos, we're giving away just 3 more on Friday's show this week. We've given out 6 thus far. And again, max capacity is at max capacity. So these are it. The last 3 tickets to give out. Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass. Again, saw the setup this morning. We did, Bo, Damon. The whole crew is there getting set up, talking setup, food, drink, vibes, giveaways, screens on screens. Of course, this broadcast, and then all the major broadcasts are going to be on. We're going to be breaking it all down. It is your premier Arizona Cardinal draft party extravaganza, sold out. But again, you want a ticket, you want to be entered into Friday's raffle, DM Bo, myself, Damon Dog, let us know. 1 singular ticket can be yours to come to the best draft party in the continental United States for the Arizona Cardinals.
You want to read that one? I mean, you're going to be one on Mike saying it.
Bees is saying that the line is getting shelled out here. Send help. Need backup immediately with some bomb emojis.
Oh, man.
Bees is on the line.
Arizona Animal wants to know if there's going to be a barf bucket available for Johnny. No doubt about it, especially if they slide down to pick 11. He thinks pick 11's gross, maybe enough to make him nauseated.
I would never barf in a PHNX piece of merch, but I might have to make an exception on that. We're going to order some tuxedos after this show, by the way.
Yep. Got to look good. It's going to be a banner day regardless, and we got to match the occasion with our drip, as the kids call it.
We are pushing our mock for time's sake to tomorrow. We are going to mirror Peter Schrager's mock draft tomorrow on tomorrow's show via the PFF mock draft simulator. See what kind of goodies we can get as it relates to draft prospects for the Arizona Cardinals. And then Thursday, it's a double dip. Right now, we've got Monti Ossenfort, Jonathan Gannon's pre-draft presser, which Bo will be in attendance for. And tentatively right now, that dirty dog, Benjamin Albright, plans to join us Thursday to break down all the rumors, insight, what he's hearing, what the Cardinals could do, and hell, could the Denver Broncos be waiting in the wings? But, man, this week only be matched by next week, draft week, Bo.
Oh, man, he can't get here soon enough. We are officially, look at that, Chase always has the premium avatars. Johnny, is that from yesterday? Draft party's going to be awesome. It absolutely is.
Quick, I do wear the same clothes every day.
But now with this show nearly in the books, man, it's seconds away from closing. We'll be 9 days away from the NFL draft. 9, and you're only going to get more and more insight as the day draws closer right here on PHNX Cardinals. Don't miss on that. We've got a great short coming up on the YouTube channel. Jonathan Gannon, some of his a clip from yesterday where he spoke with the media. You don't want to miss that. Make sure to like it, leave a comment, leave a like on this video. What are we aiming for here?
500. The goal is 500 from here on out every single day.
Let's get there. Let's not leave any likes on the field. Let's get them all on this video right now. PHNX Cardinals for Mr. Hold the Line, award-winning producer Damon Dog, Johnny Venerable. I'm Bo Brack. We'll talk to you mañana.
We all silly like the mayor.